It's dawn. The room is still, and within about 4 seconds, your hand moves toward your phone. You don't even decide to do it. The silence presses in, and reaching for the screen feels like coming up for air. National surveys show that more than half of Americans consider alone time vital for their mental health. We recognize the need for it, yet the moment we are actually alone, our immediate reflex is to escape. This reaction is often a learned behavior. A recent analysis of news headlines found they were 10 times more likely to describe being alone in negative terms than positive ones. We have been trained to read silence as a threat. By treating silence as something to be rescued from, we spend our lives avoiding the very conditions we claim to need. We end up caught in a cycle of craving the quiet and immediately flinching away from it. Ask yourself something honest. When was the last time you formed an opinion that wasn't downstream of a feed, a persuasive friend, or a fear of looking foolish? Psychologist Virginia Thomas separates isolation into 2 categories. Empty solitude is the dead, restless kind, simply waiting for a distraction. Full solitude is meaningful time used for growth and self-reflection. Without the practice of full solitude, a person's identity is easily outsourced to the loudest voice in the room. They haven't spent enough time with their own mind to know which of their beliefs are actually theirs. This creates a mind that bends under pressure. When your sense of yourself is rented from the crowd, you lose your footing the moment the crowd turns against you. Researchers found that being alone is experienced in 2 distinct ways, and the difference determines whether that hour makes you stronger or smaller. In 2022, Dwight C. led a team that studied people throughout their ordinary days. They found that the physical environment didn't dictate the mental outcome of isolation. People could feel very differently while sitting in the exact same empty room. The variable was autonomy. When solitude was imposed, it felt like a punishment. But when it was chosen on their own terms, the same silence felt restorative and rich. Taking ownership of your time alone changes its biological effect. It provides a space where you alone set the terms, and that sense of ownership predicts a significant increase in psychological well-being. The friction felt in a quiet morning is the result of how the brain handles focus. Psychologists call it directed attention, the effort required to ignore distractions and lock onto something that isn't naturally gripping. Concentration behaves like a muscle. Grinding through work or navigating social obligations spends a finite amount of energy. Push it long enough and you hit directed attention fatigue, that fried, scattered feeling where you can no longer think straight. Attention restoration theory suggests the mind recovers through a specific kind of rest. It requires genuine separation from the pull of screens and obligations, combined with soft fascination, letting the mind rest on undemanding things like a slow walk or your own breath. Solitude provides the conditions for this recovery. The dawn you keep escaping is a charging station for the specific mental resource that discipline runs on. There is a difference between being alone and being undistracted. Research shows the recharge of solitude doesn't appear when you fill the silence with a screen. Scrolling alone is a hollow experience. Your body is in a quiet room, but your attention is still being yanked, measuring itself against thousands of other lives. This counterfeit solitude provides none of the cognitive recovery your brain needs. It maintains the physical isolation while maximizing your mental exhaustion. Marcus Aurelius commanded the Roman world, facing constant crises and betrayal. His survival depended on a steadiness that didn't rely on the people around him. He often longed for a physical escape to the mountains or the sea, but he realized that he could retreat into himself at any hour he chose, finding a space that the world's noise couldn't reach. He called this the inner citadel. By returning to his own company until it became a stronghold rather than a void, he developed a clarity that remained ordered even when his empire was in chaos. His calm was owned, not rented from circumstances. Because he had done the reps in private, he could disagree with a room without flinching. His footing was never in the room. This steadiness is a practice you choose to do. It cannot be inherited or bought. It is built through returning again and again to your own company. Start with 10 minutes. No phone and no screens in the room. Practice being away by letting your attention land on your breath or light on the wall. The restlessness you feel is simply the withdrawal of an overstimulated brain. Let it pass. It passes faster than you think. The quiet you've been escaping is the room where a disciplined mind is built. Tomorrow morning, you can stay in that room and lay the first brick, or you can reach for the phone again.